The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Everything has its wonders, even darkness and silence, and I learn, whatever state I may be in, therein to be content. True happiness is not attained through self-gratification, but through fidelity to a worthy purpose. So long as the memory of certain beloved friends lives in my heart, I shall say that life is good. We could never learn to be brave and patient, if there were only joy in the world. I long to accomplish a great and noble task, but it is my chief duty to accomplish small tasks as if they were great and noble. The heresy of one age becomes the orthodoxy of the next. It's wonderful to climb the liquid mountains of the sky. Behind me and before me is God, and I have no fears. All the world is full of suffering. It is also full of overcoming. No one has a right to consume happiness without producing it. Toleration is the greatest gift of the mind. It requires the same effort of the brain that it takes to balance oneself on a bicycle. What a blind person needs is not a teacher but another self. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. Faith is the strength by which a shattered world shall emerge into the light. As the eagle was killed by the arrow winged with his own feather, so the hand of the world is wounded by its own skill. I do not want the peace which passeth understanding. I want the understanding which bringeth peace. There is no king who has not had a slave among his ancestors, and no slave who has not had a king among his. What we have once enjoyed we can never lose. All that we love deeply becomes a part of us. Although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of it. Never bend your head. Always hold it high. Look the world straight in the eye. Your success and happiness lies in you. Resolve to keep happy, and your joy and you shall form an invincible host against difficulties. Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. The fearful are caught as often as the bold. What I am looking for is not out there, it is in me. One can never consent to creep when one feels an impulse to soar. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched, they must be felt with the heart. Keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see a shadow. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. We can do anything we want to if we stick to it long enough. Knowledge is love and light and vision. Life is either a great adventure or nothing. When we do the best that we can, we never know what miracle is wrought in our life, or in the life of another. To me, a lush carpet of pine needles or spongy grass is more welcome than the most luxurious Persian rug. Until the great mass of the people shall be filled with the sense of responsibility for each other's welfare, social justice can never be attained. The most pathetic person in the world is someone who has sight, but has no vision. Life is an exciting business, and most exciting when it is lived for others. Self-pity is our worst enemy, and if we yield to it, we can never do anything wise in this world. It is a terrible thing to see and have no vision. Science may have found a cure for most evils, but it has found no remedy for the worst of them all. The apathy of human beings. It is hard to interest those who have everything in those who have nothing. Smell is a potent wizard that transports you across thousands of miles and all the years you have lived. People do not like to think. If one thinks, one must reach conclusions. Conclusions are not always pleasant. While they were saying among themselves, "It cannot be done," it was done. Of all the senses, sight must be the most delightful. Many persons have a wrong idea of what constitutes true happiness. It is not attained through self-gratification but through fidelity to a worthy purpose. As selfishness and complaint pervert the mind, so love with its joy clears and sharpens the vision. We may have found a cure for most evils, but we have found no remedy for the worst of them all, the apathy of human beings. College isn't the place to go for ideas. I can see, and that is why I can be happy, in what you call the dark, but which to me is golden. I can see a God-made world, not a man-made world. My share of the work may be limited, but the fact that it is work makes it precious. Strike against war, for without you no battles can be fought. No matter how dull, or how mean, or how wise a man is, he feels that happiness is his indisputable right. The highest result of education is tolerance. Love is like a beautiful flower which I may not touch, but whose fragrance makes the garden a place of delight just the same. Death is no more than passing from one room into another. But there's a difference for me, you know. Because in that other room I shall be able to see. The world is moved along, not only by the mighty shoves of its heroes, but also by the aggregate of tiny pushes of each honest worker. No pessimist ever discovered the secret of the stars, or sailed to an uncharted land, or opened a new doorway for the human spirit. Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light. It is not possible for civilization to flow backwards while there is youth in the world. Youth may be headstrong, but it will advance its allotted length. I seldom think about my limitations, and they never make me sad. Perhaps there is just a touch of yearning at times, but it is vague, like a breeze among flowers. It is wonderful how much time good people spend fighting the devil. If they would only expend the same amount of energy loving their fellow men, the devil would die in his own tracks of ennui. Instead of comparing our lot with that of those who are more fortunate than we are, we should compare it with the lot of the great majority of our fellow men. It then appears that we are among the privileged. Many people know so little about what is beyond their short range of experience. They look within themselves and find nothing. Therefore they conclude that there is nothing outside themselves either. Literature is my utopia. Here I am not disenfranchised. No barrier of the senses shuts me out from the sweet, gracious discourses of my book friends. They talk to me without embarrassment or awkwardness. Security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in nature, nor do the children of men as a whole experience it. Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is either a daring adventure, or nothing.